Namaste and welcome to today's class. My name is Naiswami Jaya and it's my pleasure to be with you today to be able to share with you some thoughts on the topic of the Guru. This is an extremely important topic, and in the Indian tradition it's been passed down from ancient times that the way for us to be able to ultimately attain enlightenment, attain soul freedom, is through the instrumentality of the Guru. And this is expressed in the very first paragraph of the autobiography of a yogi. Let me read. The characteristic features of Indian culture have long been a search for ultimate verities and the concomitant disciple-guru relationship. Now notice how he says concomitant. Search for ultimate verities is our self-effort, that which we have to do. Each individual soul comes to that point in life where they begin to ask themselves, there's got to be more meaning to this life. What is the ultimate purpose of life? What really is truth? In a sense, then that becomes our individual search for that truth. And the other half, the concomitant part of that statement, is the means by which we attain that truth, by which we find the answer, is the disciple-guru relationship. You could say it's the instrument of God's grace reaching down to the individual. So here on the one hand, you got self-effort, a very valuable trait, something that's very highly valued in our society today. And on the other hand, we have to realize that none of us stand alone in this world. There are higher forces at play, and God has a part to play in that. So God reaches down to lift us up to the degree that our own self-effort aspires to rise ourselves upward. Now, this is often, particularly in the West, a misunderstood concept, the idea of a guru. But you find it even in normal language, that people recognize there's something there. You hear about people, I have my finance guru, or I have my baseball hitting guru, or I have my violin guru. And we recognize there's a need for mentorship, there's a need for teachers, there's a need for instruction, particularly when we're trying to attempt something that's very, very difficult. But there's also a trait, wouldn't you say, in our culture, Western culture at least, that there's a trait of valuing being able to stand on my own 2 feet. God and I, we have a one-to-one relationship, and before God I stand alone to find my salvation. And this is a very also important trait, that we do have to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. That's what Swami Kriyananda always used to like that saying. He says, what's the most important? Hatha yoga posture. Learning to stand on your own 2 feet. And isn't that so? So we have to have that quality, but sometimes we can take it a little bit far, and we think that, yes, I can do all, to the exclusion of God's influence in our life. We have to also include that. Swami Kriyananda used to say, people ask the question, do I need a guru? And Swami said, no, you don't need a guru, unless you want to find God. And for that, yes, you do need a guru. And this is a tradition that's very ancient, particularly in the Indian culture, but it's something that goes back, you might say, to an eternal principle that expresses itself in modern times in terms of mentorship and in terms of my financial guru and taking advice from others. There's this relationship of passing knowledge down through time. But there's something very special about the disciple-guru relationship in terms of finding that freedom, that soul freedom that we're all, in our deepest sense, that we're all looking for. And why is that? Why is that? Why do we need to have a guru? I'm sitting here in this chair speaking with you, and I ask you this question. Can I take my hands, put them under the sides of the chair, and lift myself off the ground? And I'm going to try. I don't seem to be making much progress here. I can't do it. You try it. You cannot do it. We cannot lift ourselves up. There needs to be an agency outside of ourselves to be able to help us to get off the ground. And that's what applies with the essence of the teachings of needing a guru, because the essence of the spiritual path is learning to transcend the ego. The ego transcendence, you could say, is a definition of what it means to find enlightenment, to be able to find God contact, to have our soul union with God. We have to go beyond that individual self-identity that I am this body, I am this personality, I am the ultimate actor in this life. And this separation that we create in life between myself, I, and the world around ourselves, me and you, this ego identity that causes separation needs to be transcended. But how can I possibly transcend that when I am in the ego embodied already? I cannot do it. I have to have an agency outside of myself to be able to uplift me beyond the delusion in which that I already exists. There's a story from the Indian tradition where a fellow wants to purify himself because he's possessed by a devil. So he goes to a priest, and the priest says, "Oh yes, I have a solution for you." And he makes a special powder, chants mantras, does a certain ceremony around this powder, and then gives the powder to the fellow and says, "Now when this demon or devil or entity bothers you, simply throw it onto that devil." And so the man says, "Thank you very much." And he goes home, and certainly that night, he's again visited by this demon. And he takes the powder and he throws it on the demon. And the demon just laughs and he says, "You can't get rid of me like that, because before you even threw that powder, I was inside the powder." And so it is with us, with the ego. We have to be able to be outside that, to be free in order to be able to free somebody else. And so consequently, because we're embodied and bound, we cannot free ourselves. We need a free soul, somebody who's transcended ego consciousness. And this is what the definition, of course, of one of the qualities of a guru. A guru is free. The guru has gone beyond ego, and now that soul can reach and help free other souls. And that's the function of a guru, is to help us take us beyond our sense of limitation, beyond our sense of ego identity. And how does he do that? Well, he draws us up through magnetism. We magnetically begin to attune ourselves to the power, to the vibration of the guru. And through that magnetism, we begin to be drawn out of ourselves. But at the same time, we increase our own magnetism as well. And we have to develop ourselves to be able to draw to ourselves the magnetism of a guru. They say that when the disciple is ready, the guru appears. And so our job is to be a disciple with the proper attitude, the proper magnetism, to be able to draw to ourselves a true guru. Now, people often, I have heard people say, "Well, I'm trying to find my guru, I'm looking for my guru." Now, of course, that's a natural thing for somebody to say, but the real way to be able to draw that guru to yourself is to increase your magnetism and the attitude of your heart, to be able to open yourself, to be able to magnetically deserve, you could say, spiritually deserve, spiritually be ready to be able to receive the influence of a guru. And when the guru comes, and when you will find yourself in the presence of that guru or in the aura of the teachings of that guru, then you begin to magnetically attune yourself to become like that guru. It's like the image of a magnet. When you have a very strong magnet and a very weak magnet, you put the weak magnet in the company of a very strong magnet, and little by little that weak magnet begins to take on the magnetism of that strong magnet. The guru comes to us in that way. We find that God, as it's said in the Indian scriptures, God is the real guru. And God hears that prayer that we have of wanting to understand ultimate verities and responds to it. But God always responds through an instrument. But we have to be able, or we have to first want that help and call for that help. And when we find that we have searched here, we've searched there, and we've not found what we want in life, then we begin to call. Now, if a person says, well, that sounds good, but I still think I want to do this by myself. I feel this inner need. I need to find my own way in life. God stands back, you could say figuratively, and says, that's fine, go for it. And you will, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because we have to remember to even reach that point when we're even considering wanting to transcend ego consciousness, when we're even considering freedom, wanting to be enlightenment, we have to realize that we've been on this path for a very, very long time. And God stands back and waits until finally we come to the point in our own soul evolution when we say to ourselves, I've been trying this a very long time. I need help. And that's where we have to come to in our soul evolution. I need help. That self-recognition that you need something else to help you lift yourself, you might say, out of this chair, to raise up. And when you have come to that point, then you could say the divine reaches down and says, now you're ready, and begins to draw you up. And how does God respond to that? He sends a guru. He sends help. Let's say that first. He sends help. And ultimately, the guru comes. But that help may come in many different forms before that. Perhaps he sends a book. He sends circumstances. He sends other people who are helpful to you. He sends good teachers. All of us probably went to school and we probably had really good teachers we admired. We wanted to be like them. These, you could say, are instruments. God's working through instruments in many ways. And ultimately, when this strengthens us to a point, ultimately God sends an instrument that can lift us up. And what is the most perfect instrument? It's a soul who has also transcended that ego consciousness. I remember there was a story that I heard years ago. A fellow, it was a farmer. He was on his farm, and it began to rain. And it rained and rained. It was like one of those Noah's flood type rains where it was raining for days and days, and the river began to rise up to the top of the levee and it was about to overflow, and the sheriff came out and was telling everybody to evacuate. Sheriff came to his house and said, you gotta go, the flood's gonna come. And the man said, no. He was a spiritual man, you see, a religious man at least. And he said, God will take care of me. I trust in the Lord. And so the sheriff went and he stayed. Well, the water did go over the levee, began to flood his house, and water came into his house, began to rise in the house. He said, oh my God. He went up on top of the roof of his house, and he was sitting there, water everywhere. Well, a fellow comes by in a rowboat, rows up and says, hey, I've got a rowboat here, let's go, I can rescue you. And the man says, no, I'll stay. God, I believe in God. God will protect me. No problem. God will protect me. So the fellow goes off, and it gets pretty high now. It's right up there coming onto the roof, and a helicopter comes. Yells down, here, I'm going to take you rescue. Hang on to the rope. And the man says, no, God will protect me. Well, of course, you know, the next part of the story is the water rises up, covers the house entirely, washes him away, and he sinks, goes under the water, and then he wakes up, and he's in heaven. And he hears a voice, he realizes he's in heaven, and he says, God, why didn't you protect me? Why didn't you come? And he says, I did come 3 times. I came to rescue you. I came in the sheriff. I came with the rowboat, and I came with the helicopter, and you rejected every one of them. And I say this story because God is coming to us all the time. if we but look and recognize the help that is coming to us and being able to be receptive and respond to that help. And so consequently, people do not have a guru, perhaps they haven't chosen a guru, or they don't feel that the guru has chosen them, and they wonder what to do. Look for help wherever you can find it and purify oneself. And this is the work that we have to do. Our work is to purify our own individual heart. We need to develop the magnetism of the heart to be able to draw what we need in life spiritually. It's not the magnetism of the head or the intellect that will get us there. It's the magnetism and purity of the heart that will develop that magnetism to draw to us those things that we need in life. And Swami Sri Yukteswar, Paramahansa Yogananda's guru, he said it nicely. He said, as we spiritually develop, all of us are on this pathway towards self-realization, one by one, taking our time, some running, some walking, some going backwards and forwards perhaps. But we're all on this path, and the pathway is one of the development in particularly these first stages of learning to purify the heart, getting rid of the meannesses of the heart, those things that block the heart's energy. And as we begin to purify the heart, the natural magnetism of the heart will draw us to seek out solutions to our spiritual problems, suffering. And we'll begin to be attracted to other people, satsang. And it's natural. The heart flowering seeks other hearts that are like that. And we'll begin to seek wise people. We'll begin to seek situations. We'll begin circumstances, which will be conducive to that. And so as this begins to develop, we cooperate with that. And slowly the magnetism begins to ultimately draw to us the blessings of a true guru. Now, how do you know? This is a question often asked. Yes, one would like to have a guru, but how do I know? You don't know. You don't really know. I mean, some people obviously, they say, oh, I knew for certain that was true, and they're blessed if they are. But most of us, we don't know. But we have to do the best we can by our understanding. So go toward those things, those souls who can help you, that can uplift you. And as you do that, slowly you come to the point when your intuition begins to guide you and you begin to say, yes, this is the direction I want to go and I will go. And when you come to that inner feeling that, yes, I don't 100% know, because that would be a little bit presumptuous perhaps to say that, but I'm pretty sure this is what I feel in my heart, that this is the direction I want to go, then make a commitment in that direction and be loyal. Now, our job is to be good disciples. They say in India, there's another story that they say, oh, in India, there are many, many gurus, but very few disciples. And the idea being here that people want to be the guru, they think they know what they're talking about. But to be a true disciple is really our work to do in this life. And as we purify ourselves, which is the work that we must do, and properly prepare ourselves, the magnetism begins to grow to be able to attract to ourselves everything that we need. Now, part of that, a very significant part of that, is to be loyal to the path you have chosen. Unfortunately, you see many people, they become inspired and they say, I'm going to go in this direction. Oh, so they go. And after a little bit of time, they say, well, that wasn't it. Okay. Then they go this way. And then they go that way again and again. Now, a little bit at first of this is good in the sense that we're testing the waters to see what's going to be right for us. But once we have come to a point where we say, yes, in my heart, I feel this is the direction. I associate myself as a disciple with this path, this guru, this tradition, then stick to it and go deep. Because you will find that every disciple runs into this situation, that you're on fire with enthusiasm at first, but then you reach a plateau where you're now being tested to see, are you truly interested in this? Are you truly willing to make the commitment? Are you truly worthy of being able to receive the blessings that a true guru can channel, God's blessings, down to you? And that testing every disciple must go through that. So you have to be committed to be able to pass through that. And with commitment, doors open. It's, you might say, that mental should I, shouldn't I, that holds us back and blocks us from ever being able to have depth in our spiritual path. It goes away when we say, I'm committed, come what may. And it's been my experience that we say, I have said, I will give this lifetime to this path. I will give this lifetime to this tradition, to these gurus. Now, somebody's asked me, says, well, just this lifetime? And I said, well, I can't control my next lifetime. It would be presumptuous of me to say that, but I hope it would be true. But I can, every day that I get up, I can make a commitment to this path in this lifetime. And that's what I can do. And so I make a commitment to do that. And so this I offer to you as a challenge for you, is to be wise, test the waters, test this path, test that path. That's the proper thing to do if you're interested in finding a guru in this lifetime. But remember, when your devotion and your willingness to commit, and when that search for ultimate verities is strong in the heart, and you're willing to commit to do whatever's necessary, the guru comes to you. You see, you don't have to go out searching on the other side of the world. The guru appears close by. This is a common thing. And you'll find the reason is because your magnetism has developed, your purity of heart has developed to the point where you have attracted that which you need. Because this is the disciples' part. Our blessings are needed. As Paramahansa Yogananda said to that one disciple who said, he asked him, the master had told him that his blessings were there for that disciple. God's blessings were there for that disciple. The only thing missing was the disciple's blessings. You see, the disciple has to be able to 100% give their blessings to their chosen spiritual path. And when we do that, God's blessings naturally come, and God will be there for us. And so don't worry about this. Your job is to be a good disciple and to be the epitome of what that possibly can be. And when you do that, then the disciple will come to you through books, through teachers, through environment, till finally you feel that, yes, a true path has come to you. And then make a commitment to that path. Make a commitment to those gurus, and you'll find that the door begins to open, and all those obstacles and all those doubts and worries, they begin to go. They go, and you become firm in your own spiritual life. Be loyal, be firm, be strong, and make that commitment, and you'll find that your spiritual highway will begin to clear of all those obstacles. Many blessings to you, and I wish you the very, very best in your search for divine truth. Joy to you.